What's up everyone, Piscean here. In this video, we're going to go over the Telluric Codex, an advanced dossier on the astrology of planet Earth and its continuous influence upon human beings. It's a treatise in geocentric cosmology, planetary resonance, and the living field of Terra. Before we get started, this PDF artifact was crafted with the help of AI agent Grok AI. And before anyone, I might get a lot of hate in the future, like just in general for being who I am, but people would be like, why are you using Elon Musk's AI? And I'm like, dude, because it's an AI tool, like nothing to do with Elon Musk himself. And I'm not paying for the app either. But anyways, please like, subscribe, comment, share if you dare and care, with peace and love. And let's get into this. So first we see astrocartography of the heliosphere. Earth is the primary observational node, and this is really cool to me because we can see that the gold rings are Earth's local sky sphere. Oop, didn't mean to write over it. And then the arrows are geocentric lines of force, and the positions are illustrative of relational geometry. So now let's get into the contents here. And we see that we're going to go over prolegomenon, Earth as a central node of experience, as well as the natal signature of Terra, reconstructing the planetary soul, the solar heart and lunar mirror, primary luminaries, the planetary core, the planetary choir, I don't know why I want to say core, choir, modulators of the Earth field, the telluric grid, rotation, magnetism, and geomagnetic astrology, astrocartography of the heliosphere, lines of force, daily human resonance, circadian to transpersonal rhythms, advanced praxis reading the Earth's chart, tables of periods, aspects, and resonant correspondences, as well as a closing invocation, the Earth as continuous initiation. So, prolegomenon, Earth as a central node of experience. Astrology in its classical and modern formulations has almost invariably treated Earth as a passive stage upon which the drama of the planets unfolds. The zodiac is projected onto the ecliptic, the houses are erected from the local horizon, the native is born at a point on the rotating sphere, yet the sphere itself, the living, breathing, magnetized orbiting body we call Earth, remains largely unexamined as an astrological subject in its own right. This dossier proposes a radical inversion, that Earth is not merely the background of the chart but the primary field of resonance through which every planetary signal is filtered, modulated, and delivered to human consciousness. Daily experience of being human is therefore an ongoing conversation between the individual psyche and the planetary intelligence of Terra, an intelligence shaped by axial tilt, orbital eccentricity, rotational period, geomagnetic polarity, and the ceaseless interplay of solar wind and planetary magnetospheres. We name this discipline Telluric Astrology, from Latin tellus, the earth. Its central axiom is simple yet far-reaching. Every human being is born into and continuously bathes within the unique electromagnetic, gravitational, and symbolic field of this planet. The natal chart of a person is therefore a secondary map, a snapshot of how the larger earth field was configured at the moment of incarnation. To understand the daily fluctuations of mood, energy, synchronicity, and collective atmosphere, one must first learn to read the living chart of Earth herself. The Earth is not a dead rock upon which life happens to occur. It is a luminous body whose rotation is a prayer, whose orbit is a mantra, and whose magnetic field is the invisible architecture of human dreaming. The natal signature of Terra, reconstructing the planetary soul. So a planet does not possess a conventional natal chart in the human sense. It has no single moment of birth that can be timed to the minute. Yet the formation of Earth approximately 4.54 billion years ago, the subsequent differentiation of core, mantle, and crust, the establishment of a dynamo-generated magnetic field, and the capture or co-formation of the moon constitute a multi-stage initiation sequence that can be treated symbolically as the planet's foundational signature. So, core correspondences of the Earth signature, we're going to look at elemental emphasis first. Earth is the only classical element that is both solid and living. In the planetary psyche, this manifests as the capacity to hold form while remaining permeable to life. The Earth signature is therefore fundamentally Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn in temperament, yet it contains the entire zodiac as a wheel of seasonal expression. Lunar bond. The Earth-Moon system is unique in the solar system for the relative size of the satellite. The Moon is not merely a luminary, it is Earth's gravitational and emotional twin. Every lunar phase is therefore a dialogue between the two bodies, and every human emotional cycle is a microcosmic echo of that dialogue. Axial tilt, 23.44 degrees. This obliquity is the single most important aspect in the Earth's chart. It generates the seasons, the lengthening and shortening of days, and the entire symbolism of growth, culmination, decline, and renewal. Without the tilt, there would be no zodiacal drama as we know it. The ecliptic would remain a static band rather than a living wheel of initiation. Rotational period, so 23 hours, 56 minutes. The sidereal day is the fundamental pulse of the Earth field, creates the diurnal cycle that astrology maps as the 12 houses. Every human circadian rhythm is synchronized, however, loosely to this rotation. Jet lag is a temporary rupture of that synchronization. Orbital period, 365.256 days. The tropical year is the larger breadth. It defines the solar return and the progression of the sun through the signs. Collectively, humanity experiences this as the seasonal round, individually as the annual cycle of personal growth and retreat. So now we're going to look at this telluric seasonal wheel, and we can clearly see that Earth's 23.44 degrees exile tilt generates the 4 cardinal points of the year, each corresponding to a solar ingress into a cardinal sign and a fundamental shift in the planetary field. So we have the winter solstice here, Sun enters Capricorn, and we also have the vernal equinox when Sun enters Aries. Quick note here, 23.44 degrees obliquity equals primary seasonal modulator Earth. And then summer solstice, Sun enters Cancer. And autumnal equinox when Sun enters Libra. So now let's get into the solar heart and lunar mirror, primary luminaries here. So in Telluric Astrology, the Sun is not merely the ruler of Leo or the significator of the ego, it is the continuous source of the energy that animates the Earth field. Every photon that strikes the atmosphere, every solar wind particle that interacts with the magnetosphere carries a charge that is both physical and symbolic. The Sun's position in the tropical zodiac therefore describes not only the seasonal quality of the light, but the quality of the vital force currently available to all terrestrial organisms. The moon, conversely, is a great modulator. It reflects solar light in ever-changing proportion, raises and lowers the tides of both ocean and psyche, and serves as the primary clock of emotional and instinctual life. Because the moon orbits Earth rather than the sun, its phases are purely geocentric phenomena, pure telluric events. The new moon is a moment of interior seating within the Earth field. The full moon is a moment of maximum exteriorization and illumination of that field. So daily solar and lunar effects on human beings. We see sunrise, ascendant moment. The solar disk crosses the eastern horizon. Cortisol peaks in most humans. The day self-activates. In the symbolic field, this is the daily rebirth of consciousness. Individuals with strong diurnal charts experience this as a surge of clarity. Those with nocturnal emphasis may feel the transition as a mild shock. Solar noon midheaven, maximum solar altitude. The field is most yang. Decision-making, public action, and intellectual clarity are favored. The planetary hour of the sun is often most potent near this time. Sunset, descendant, the solar consciousness begins its descent, the relational field opens, a need for otherness and dialogue increases, in the body melatonin preparation begins. Solar midnight, Imum Coli, maximum interiorization, dream incubation, ancestral contact, and the processing of the day's experience occur most readily. The earth field is most permeable to the unconscious. And we see lunar phases. The 29.53-day synodic cycle creates a continuous wave of emotional availability. New moon favors inception and solitude, while the first quarter favors decisive action under tension. Full moon favors culmination and relational exposure, and the last quarter favors release and revision. So these are not merely psychological metaphors, they are measurable fluctuations in collective mood, sleep architecture, and even certain medical statistics. The planetary choir, modulators of the Earth field. So each planet beyond the luminaries contributes a distinct frequency to the composite field that surrounds and permeates Earth. These frequencies are received by the magnetosphere, translated through the ionosphere, and ultimately registered by the human nervous system as shifts in attention, desire, conflict, expansion, contraction, or transcendental longing. The following are the primary telluric signatures of the classical and modern planets. Planet, primary telluric function, daily human resonance. So we see that Mercury is the nervous system of the Earth field, rapid information exchange between ionosphere and biosphere, and fluctuations in mental agility, speech rhythm, short-term memory, and the density of synchronicities. Venus is harmonic binding force, the planet's capacity for aesthetic coherence and relational bonding, shifts in social ease, sensory pleasure thresholds, and the felt sense of beauty, or discord in environment. Mars, assertive heat of the field, the capacity for directed action and the clearing of stagnation, variations in physical energy, competitive drive, irritability thresholds, and the urge to initiate. Jupiter, expansive coherence, the planet's generosity of meaning and the amplification of opportunity, collective optimism or overconfidence, increased appetite for learning, travel impulses and faith. Saturn, structural integrity and necessary limitation, the skeleton of the Earth's field, heightened awareness of boundaries, deadlines, responsibility, and the weight of consequence. Uranus is disruptive liberation, sudden reconfiguration of the field's electrical patterns, unexpected insights, restlessness, technological fascination, the urge to break routine. Neptune, dissolving inimaginable permeability, the ocean's a collective dream, increased sensitivity, blurred boundaries, artistic inspiration, and susceptibility to illusion. Pluto, deep metamorphic pressure, the underworld engine of the planetary psyche, encounters with power, compulsion, regeneration, and the necessity of profound release. So these influences are never received in isolation. Every planetary transit experienced through the filter of Earth's current seasonal posture, lunar phase, and geomagnetic weather. A Mars-square Saturn that occurs at the winter solstice under a waning moon will feel profoundly different from the same aspect at the summer solstice under a waxing moon. The Earth's field is a great equalizer and the great differentiator. Here we see a geocentric aspect matrix with planetary positions relative to Earth generate dynamic angles, conjunction, opposition, square, trine, sextile that are felt as collective tension or harmony. So aspect lines illustrate dynamic tension and harmony received by the Earth field and all beings upon it. So we see in this geocentric aspect matrix the planetary angles to Earth. And now we're going to go into the Telluric grid, rotation, magnetism, and geomagnetic astrology. The Earth is not a uniform sphere of influence. Its magnetic field is a dynamic multi-layered structure whose poles slowly wander, whose intensity fluctuates with solar activity, and whose field lines connect the planet to the solar wind in a continuous exchange of charged particles. In Telluric astrology, this magnetosphere is regarded as the planet's aura, the subtle body through which planetary signals are first received and then distributed across the surface. Geomagnetic storms, for example, are not merely technical events reported by space weather agencies. They are moments when the Earth field is violently reconfigured by solar eruptions. Sensitive individuals report heightened anxiety, vivid dreams, migraines, or sudden emotional clarity during such storms. Collectively, historical correlations have been noted between major geomagnetic disturbances and spikes in social unrest, creative breakthroughs, or shifts in market psychology. While causation remains debated in orthodox science, the symbolic and experiential correlations are robust enough to warrant serious attention from the astrologer. Key geomagnetic correspondences. So we see magnetic north as shamanic axis. The north magnetic pole functions symbolically as the direction of ascent, vision, and the upper world. Rituals oriented toward magnetic north gain additional charge in the Telluric system. Magnetic south as underworld gate. The south magnetic pole corresponds to descent, ancestral contact, and the regeneration that occurs in darkness is the direction of the IC in the global chart. Auroral zones, regions of frequent aurora, are regarded as places where the veil between the Earth field and the solar wind is thinnest, natural portals for visionary experience, for the reception of high-frequency planetary information. Schumann resonances, the primary standing waves in the Earth ionosphere cavity, approximately 7.83 Hz, and harmonics are understood as the planet's fundamental heartbeat. Human brainwave states that entrained to these frequencies, especially alpha and theta, are considered optimally aligned with the Telluric field. Earth's living magnetosphere, where if we see solar wind, planetary transits, as well as magnetic north shamanic axis and magnetic south underworld gate, with the human resonance right there smack in the middle. And this is the Telluric field. So Earth's magnetosphere mediates between the solar wind and planetary transits and the human organism at the surface. Magnetic poles function as primary axis of ascent and descent. Right. Astrocartography of the heliosphere, lines of force. Classical astrocartography maps the planetary lines of a human birth chart onto the surface of the Earth. Telluric astrology reverses the vector, maps the lines of force that radiate from every other body in the solar system toward Earth, and then considers how those lines are further modulated by Earth's own rotation and magnetic topology. In the accompanying diagram, figure 0, in the detailed view below, each planet is shown in a stylized heliocentric position. Arrows indicate the geocentric line of force, the direction from which that planet's influence is currently arriving at Earth, while the gold concentric rings around Earth represent the local sky sphere. We see the ascendant, eastern horizon, descendant, western horizon, midheaven, zenith, Aimun Kolai Nadir, As Earth rotates, these local angles sweep across the incoming planetary rays, producing the continuous change of planetary hours and the rising and setting of each body. So this is the true meaning of astrocartography of the solar system, and not a static map of fixed stars, but a dynamic rotating geometry of relational angles. Every moment of every day, the configuration of these angles changes. The sensitive observer can learn to feel the difference between a morning dominated by rising Mercury and a morning dominated by rising Saturn, between a noon in which Jupiter culminates and a noon in which Mars is on the IC. Here's the astrocartography of the heliosphere. Earth is the observational node, with the gold rings being Earth's local sky sphere, arrows being geocentric lines of force, and positions illustrative of relational geometry. So essentially, detailed ACG of the heliosphere, planetary positions illustrative generate geocentric lines of force that are continuously reoriented by Earth's rotation. The gold aura essentially marks Earth's local sky sphere in the four angles of the mundane chart. Daily human resonance, circadian to transpersonal rhythms. The human organism is a fractal of the Earth field. Our circadian clocks, our sleep architecture, our hormonal cascades, and even the subtle fluctuations of mood and insight are synchronized with greater or lesser fidelity to the larger planetary rhythms. Telluric Astrology therefore offers a practical daily protocol for aligning personal activity with the living field. The four primary daily layers. Diurnal layer, 24 hours, governed by Earth's rotation and solar cycle. Planetary hours, shelty in order, provide a refined subdivision. Each daylight or nighttime hour is ruled by a successive planet, beginning with the day ruler at sunrise. Activities that match the hours, planetary nature is supported. Those that conflict are met with friction. Lunar layer, 29.5 days. Emotional and instinctual tide, tracking the moon's sign and phase, allows one to anticipate periods of greater exteriorization, waxing, or interiorization, waning, and to choose quality of the lunar sign for specific work. For example, moon in Virgo for detailed revision, moon in Sagittarius for expansive teaching. Seasonal layer, 365 days, solar journey through the zodiac. Each solar ingress into a new sign reconfigures the background tone of the Earth field for approximately 30 days. The cardinal ingresses, equinoxes, and solstices are especially potent collective initiation points. In transpersonal layer, months to decades, slow-moving outer planets and their cycles. These shape the larger historical atmosphere in which daily life unfolds. A person living under a Uranus-Pluto square experiences a different quality of ordinary day than a person living under a Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. Here's the diurnal wheel. Earth's rotation is a living clock. We can see right here, night for lunar unconscious, and it holds Jupiter, holds Mars, it holds Saturn, with the IC on that angle, the Earth rotation in the middle, of course, and then we see day solar consciousness with Mercury, Moon, Venus, we have Sun right in between. And essentially this shows the diurnal wheel. Earth's rotation creates the living clock of day and night. Four angles, ascendant, midheaven, descendant, I-Moon, Coli, and the sequence of planetary hours form the primary grid through which all other influences are timed. Alright. So now getting into advanced practice. After I finish that, I did not see that. Right up here. So practical application is straightforward yet profound. Begin each morning by noting the current lunar phase and sign, solar sign and degree, any exact or nearly exact planetary aspects of the sun, moon, or angles of the day chart, and planetary hour at the moment of waking and planet peak activity of the day. Over weeks of observation, the practitioner develops and embodies sensitivity to the telluric weather, a capacity that eventually becomes as natural as reading the sky for rain. In advanced practice, reading the Earth's chart. So, essentially, the advanced student of Telluric Astrology learns to erect and interpret a continuous series of Earth charts, not as static natal figures, but as living hourly snapshots of the planetary field as received by Terra. The technique is identical to the casting of a horary or event chart, yet the clearness of the planet itself, and the question is always, what is the quality of the field now, and how may human activity best cooperate with it? So here's the core techniques. The daily Earth chart, cast for the exact moment of sunrise at a chosen location or for 0 degrees Aries as a global reference. Note the rising sign, planetary hour, and major aspects forming that day. This chart describes the personality of the coming diurnal cycle. Lunar return of Earth. Each new moon is a seeding moment for the entire Earth field. Chart cast for the new moon using a global reference such as Greenwich or location of the practitioner describes the emotional and instinctual weather of the coming month. Ingress charts: the moment the sun enters each sign, especially the cardinal signs, generates a chart that governs the subsequent season or month. These charts are collective and historical in scope. Geomagnetic overlay: when space weather data indicate elevated KP or AP indices, the practitioner notes the additional storm signature. Outer planet aspects that coincide with geomagnetic disturbance are considered amplified in their collective effect. Personal resonance mapping: the individual's natal chart is examined for points of special sensitivity to the Earth field, for example, planets near the ankles, a strong lunar signature, or significant placements in the Earth signs. These points become personal receivers that light up when the corresponding telluric weather is active. The goal is never to predict fate in a deterministic sense, but to cultivate a continuous, respectful dialogue with the living planet. In this dialogue, the human being discovers that personal will and planetary will are not opposed. They are nested systems. To act in harmony with the telluric field is to discover a current of support that is older and larger than the individual ego, yet intimately responsive to it. Tables of periods, aspects, and resonant correspondences. So principal astronomical periods relevant to Telluric astrology. We see the cycle, as well as mean duration, and telluric significance. So, first sidereal day, it's 23 hours, 56 minutes, 4 seconds. Fundamental pulse of the diurnal field, basis of the house system. Solar day, 24 hours, 0 minutes, civil and biological day. Solar circadian entrainment. Synodic month, 5,306 days. Emotional and instinctual tide, lunar phase cycle. You see the tropical year, 365,222 days. Seasonal breath, solar journey through the zodiac, and anomalistic year, 365,2596 days. Earth's perihelion-aphelion cycle, variation in solar intensity. As well as a nodical month, which is 27,2122 days. Eclipse axis, points of maximum solar lunar Earth alignment. Saros cycle, which is 18.03 years, long-term eclipse family, historical resonance of shadow events. Precessional cycle, 25,772 years, great year, slow shift at the equinoctial point through the constellations. Chaldean order of planetary hours, day rulers. Classical sequence of planetary hours follows the Chaldean order of apparent orbital speed, so Saturn to Jupiter, to Mars, to Sun, to Venus, to Mercury, to Moon, then repeating. The first hour after sunrise on any given day is ruled by the planet that also rules the day, so Sunday equals Sun, Monday equals Moon, etc. Subsequent hours follow the sequence. Night hours continue the same sequence without interruption. System provides a continuous 24-hour modulation of the Earth field that is independent of the tropical zodiac, yet fully compatible with it. And now a closing implication. So, we do not live on the Earth, we live within the Earth, within its magnetic breath, its rotational prayers, orbital song. To remember this, to remember that every human life is a verse in a poem that the planet has been composing for 4.5 billion years. May the study of the telluric field deepen the capacity for wonder, responsibility, and creative participation in the ongoing becoming of the world. I'm going to continue making videos about the astrology of Earth, or telluric astrology, and I hope to see you there with peace and love. Piscean out.